A year of gasoline lines, political chaos in America, and a slow shift in the U.S. Mint that would eventually change the way modern quarters were made. And right in the middle of all that, the ordinary-looking 1974 quarter, a coin that millions of people dismiss as pocket change, actually hides some shocking secrets, including rare versions that have sold for $4,000, $6,000, and even close to $10,000 when errors or high grades come into play. Yes, a coin from the 70s that you might still find in your old piggy bank right now. Support our effort. Subscribe, like, and share so that we can bring you more videos like this. Now let's talk about why this coin matters. The 1974 Washington quarter was minted in massive quantities. Over 1.6 billion coins were produced across Philadelphia and Denver. That means most 1974 quarters are worth exactly 25 cents. They're common. They're everywhere. But that's exactly what makes the rare ones so shocking. Because hidden inside such a huge population, a tiny handful show unusual features, minting flaws, and high-grade surfaces that make collectors go crazy. Start with the basics. The 1974 quarter is a copper nickel-clad coin, weighing about 5.67 grams, and made long after silver quarters disappeared in 1965. That's why so many people ask, is my 1974 quarter silver? The answer is no, unless it's one of the extremely rare transitional errors struck on leftover silver planchets. These are incredibly scarce, but they do exist. And one of these rare silver strike errors sold for well over $9,000, simply because it shouldn't exist at all. But even without silver, the 1974 quarter has value hiding in the details. The most important thing collectors want today is condition. If you have a 1974 quarter that has never been circulated, no scratches, no dull surfaces, no worn edges, and it grades MS66 or MS67, the value jumps. A regular 1974p quarter graded MS67 has sold for around $1,500 to $2,500. The Denver version can hit even higher. A beautiful 1974D quarter in MS67 has crossed $3,000 at auction. That's a big return on something you can pull out of a jar. Now we get into the part that really gets people excited, errors and varieties. This is where the 1974 quarter becomes treasure hunting. One of the biggest ones is the double die obverse. When you look at Liberty, or In God We Trust, or the date, 1974, you may see doubling, thick shadow-like lines on the letters. Real double dies are rare, not the machine doubling most coins show. A strong 1974 double die can bring hundreds, sometimes over $1,000 depending on the strength of the doubling and the condition. Then there's the off-center strike. If your 1974 quarter shows part of the design missing because the coin was not aligned correctly when struck, you're looking at a premium error. A 5% off-center might bring $40. A 20% off-center could bring $150. And if you find one with the date still visible, collectors love those. It could easily cross $250 or more. Another valuable error is the broad strike, where the coin appears stretched out with no visible rim. These can go from $30 to $100 depending on the quality. And if you ever find a clipped planchet, where a chunk of the coin's edge is missing, those can bring from $40 to $120. But one of the strangest and most dramatic errors is the struck on the wrong planchet mistake. Sometimes the mint accidentally used a blank mint for another coin. Imagine a 1974 quarter struck on a dime planchet, smaller, lighter, missing some design details. That's a $1,000 coin. One example sold for around $1,900. Another 1974 quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet sold for more than $2,000 simply because the mint messed up. Now let's zoom out. Why did these errors happen? In the early 1970s, the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure. The coin shortage of the 1960s had forced them to automate quickly. Machines were fast, but not perfect. And during that chaotic period, Coins slip through with misaligned dies, badly cut planches, leftover stock blanks, and striking mistakes. A large mintage year like 1974 meant high-speed production, and high-speed production always means more room for errors. And here's the best part of the story. These coins are still out there. You don't need to go to an auction or dealer to find them. They still turn up in pocket change, coin rolls, old jars, bags of coins from your grandparents, and flea markets where people don't think twice about selling a 1974 quarter for face value. And because the coin is not rare in normal condition, people don't check them. That's exactly why you can still strike gold with a regular 1974 quarter today. But here's the reality. Not all coins with scratches or discoloration are valuable. To hit the big numbers, you need a high grade or a dramatic error. The best way to check? Use a magnifying glass. Look at the letters. Look at the edges. Rotate the coin under light. Look for doubling, missing metal, cracks, or misaligned details. With a little practice, your eyes become a metal detector for money. Now let's talk about selling. If you find a high-grade 1974 quarter or a strong error, do not list it on random Facebook groups. You'll get lowball offers all day. Instead, serious coins go to heritage auctions, Stax Bowers, or great collections. Even eBay is good if you know how to photograph the coin clearly. Lower value errors, clipped planches, minor off-centers, small die cracks, can sell well on eBay because collectors search those terms every day. Just be honest with the description. Finally, there's the story. Every coin tells one, and the 1974 quarter speaks about a nation in transition. The Vietnam War was ending. The presidency was crumbling with the Watergate scandal. The U.S. Mint was modernizing. And in the middle of all that, these coins were stamped out by the millions. Everyday money that captured a moment in American history. And now, decades later, they live in drawers, pockets, gas stations, vending machines. And sometimes they hide a prize no one expects. So the next time you see a 1974 quarter, don't ignore it. Flip it, check it, because one tiny detail could turn it from 25 cents into $500, $1,000, or even $10,000. That's the magic of coin collecting, ordinary coins with extraordinary stories. A year when the U.S. economy was tightening, inflation was squeezing every family, and the mint was operating under pressure. In the middle of all that, the 1982 Washington quarter was born. A coin that looks completely ordinary, yet has versions that have sold for $5,000, $7,000, and even above $10,000 when you hit the perfect combination of grade and error. And the best part? These coins still show up in pocket change today. Support our effort. Subscribe, like, and share so that we can bring you more videos like this. Now let's talk about why the 1982 quarter is so interesting. This was the year the U.S. Mint stopped making proof sets and mint sets for collectors. That means there are no official mint set examples to guarantee premium quality coins. No polished coins. No special collector strikes. So collectors today must rely on whatever coins survived in high grade from circulation. That alone makes top-grade examples rare. The 1982 quarter is a copper nickel-clad coin, weighing 5.67 grams, with the usual Washington portrait. But here's the twist. Because there were no government-issued sets, truly high-grade examples are scarce. A regular 1982 P quarter graded MS-67 has sold for over $3,000. A 1982 D quarter in MS-67 has crossed $4,000. And when you start talking about MS-68, that's when numbers jump dramatically. Only a handful exist. One Mega Siemens 68 example sold for nearly $10,000, simply because almost no flawless coins survived. But condition is only the beginning. This coin has some of the most dramatic and valuable errors of the 1980s. One of the most sought after is the missing clad layer error. This happens when the nickel plating fails, leaving the copper core exposed on either one or both sides. A well-preserved missing clad 1982 quarter can sell for $500 to $1,200 depending on the appearance. If the error is clean, bold, and certified, prices can spike even higher. Another huge one is the off-center strike. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the price. A 10% off-center might bring $60. A 25% off-center with the date visible can jump to $250. But a big 50% off-center 1982 quarter with the date fully readable? That's easily a $600 to $900 coin and sometimes more. Then there's the broad strike, where the coin expands outward with no defined rim. These typically range from $40 to $150 depending on how clean the strike is. A strong broad strike with full detail can bring even more. Collectors also chase the clipped planche error, a curved section missing from the edge. A typical 1982 clipped planche quarter can bring $50 to $120, but dramatic clips can go higher. But one of the most valuable categories of all is the wrong planche strike. Every time the mint changes denominations on the production floor, mistakes happen, and blanks get mixed. Imagine a 1982 quarter struck on a nickel planche. Smaller, lighter, missing parts of the design. One example sold for nearly $2,000. And then there are 1982 quarters struck on foreign planches, coins meant for other countries. These are extremely rare and can hit $3,000 to $5,000 depending on which planche was used. There are also rumored transitional errors where leftover stock planches were used accidentally. While not confirmed in large numbers, even a single verified example can enter the five-figure range because of its rarity. Now let's talk about why these errors happened. The early 1980s were chaotic for the U.S. Mint. Budget pressure. High demand for circulating coins. Equipment running non-stop. When the mint is rushed, mistakes slip out, blanks overlap, dies misalign, and quality checks weaken. Combine that with the fact that 1982 had no collector sets, and you suddenly have a year where high-grade coins are rare and errors survived without being pulled. But the best part of all this? These coins are still out there. The 1982 quarter is not old enough for most people to treat it as special. It shows up in grocery store change, gas stations, old jars, and bankrolls. And because the coin looks modern, people don't check them. That's what makes this one so exciting. You can literally pull a valuable 1982 quarter from a handful of coins today. If you want to find high-grade examples, search rolls from the bank. Look for sharp rims, full luster, no scratches, and clean fields. Rotate the coin under a light. A gem-quality quarter jumps out at you because the surfaces flash. To spot errors, check first for the big, obvious ones. Missing clad surfaces, missing metal clips, misaligned designs, and anything unusually light or thin. A scale helps. A missing clad layer coin will be noticeably lighter. Then use magnification. Look around, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the eagle's wings for doubling or distortion. And once you find something good, here's how to sell it. For big errors or top-grade coins, the best places are heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections. They attract real collectors who pay real money. For smaller errors, like minor clips, die cracks, or small off-centers, eBay is perfect because collectors search those listings every day. Now think about the story behind this coin. The year 1982 saw major economic struggles. Families were cutting expenses. Gasoline prices were unpredictable. The nation was heading toward recession. And while all that was happening, the mint was pumping out billions of coins under enormous pressure. Those everyday quarters paid for people's groceries, bus fares, and phone calls. Today they sit in jars, drawers, and cash registers, quiet survivors of a stressful time in American history. But a few of those coins, just a tiny fraction, hold value most people never imagine. A sharp strike, a misplaced blank, a machine error, a preserved high-grade survivor, and suddenly that 25-cent piece becomes a $1,000 treasure or even a $10,000 rarity. So next time you see a 1982 quarter, don't toss it aside. Flip it, check it, study it for details, because in a year with no mint sets, poor quality control, and massive production, the chances of finding something special are higher than you think. And that ordinary-looking coin sitting in your change might just be your next big discovery.